Hello, and welcome to this edition of Y-PAC's CityCast. I'm Randy Beeler. Earlier this year, the City of Yakima, in cooperation with Alaska Airlines, launched a marketing campaign to encourage people to fly out of Yakima rather than driving to an airport in another city. So far, the Fly YKM campaign appears to be paying off. The percentage of seats filled on outgoing flights is referred to as the load factor for an airline. In June of this year, the load factor for Yakima's sole commercial airline, Horizon, was 77%. That number marks a significant increase over last June for Horizon, a subsidiary of Alaska Airlines. Horizon's load factor for June 2014 was 72%. So far, in 2014, Horizon's load factor stands at 74%, which is 3 percentage points higher than it was through June last year. The increase in the number of people flying out of Yakima this year is important because Alaska Airlines has indicated that if a load factor remains strong, a fourth daily flight between Yakima and Seattle could be added. If that happens, the new flights between Yakima and Seattle would most likely be scheduled in the mid-afternoon or the early evening. Nearly 60 years ago, a major motion picture starring Hollywood legend Gary Cooper was shot in the Yakima area. The film was called The Hanging Tree and followed Cooper's character, Dr. John Frail, as he struggled to find a new life in the fictional Montana gold rush town of Skull Creek. A few years ago, a memento from the film, a thank you poster signed by Cooper and other stars of the movie, was discovered in the basement of Yakima City Hall. Now, the poster will have a new home at the Yakima Valley Museum. The poster will be donated to the museum, which boasts a collection of the Hanging Tree memorabilia that includes a full-length print of the film, at the August 5th business meeting of the Yakima City Council. The Hanging Tree was shot at locations in the Yakima area, including the Ottanum and Nile Valleys, Goose Prairie, and Bumping Lake. It was one of the last movies that Cooper ever made. The Hanging Tree was relatively successful in its time, but has since become well regarded as a classic Western. On its second go-around, an ordinance establishing fees for utilities which excavate city streets was recently passed by the Yakima City Council, and an effort to build an indoor aquatics facility in Yakima continues to make progress. With those stories, here's CityCast's Ken Crockett.
The Yakima City Council has taken steps to ensure that city streets stay in good shape after this year's grind and overlay projects are completed. Beginning in mid-August, utilities will begin paying a road restoration fee whenever a street cut has been made. Money generated by the fee will enable the city to repave streets, thus extending the life of the road and making for a smoother ride. A recently passed city ordinance establishes a fixed rate schedule for street cuts. However, it can be adjusted up or down depending on the condition of the pavement at the time that the excavation work is done. By the end of 2014, Yakima will have spent $20 million on road improvements during the past 2 years. This summer's hot weather has made Yakima swimming pools popular spots. Even though the two aging facilities are meeting the demand, plans for a new multi-use indoor swimming pool facility in Yakima are continuing. Yakima Parks and Recreation Manager Ken Wilkinson will be busy in the next several weeks as he tours several aquatic facilities, such as this one in Bend, Oregon, and another in Gig Harbor, Washington. The City Council may also be appointing people to serve on a community pool advisory committee. A full report on partnerships, potential sites, operating costs, and funding for a new indoor pool could be presented to the Yakima City Council by the end of the year.
Thanks, Ken. After nearly 4 years of continuous construction, both of Yakima's new underpasses are now open, and a significant project to repave roads in the city keeps moving forward. Those stories when we continue with this edition of Y-PAC CityCast. took more than a decade to plan and build, but recently the MLK Jr. Boulevard underpass opened with a bit of fanfare. The end of the underpass project was marked at the same time a major road repaving project throughout the community continued to move ahead. With more, here's CityCast's Sean Davidow.
Thanks, Randy. I'm here at the MLK Jr. Boulevard underpass that has now been open to traffic following a ribbon-cutting ceremony on July 23rd. The $10.6 million project was completed ahead of schedule. Originally, the project was scheduled to wrap up by this fall. As well as the completion of this project, road crews are still working on several Yakima streets as the aggressive road resurfacing project continues. 90 lane miles are scheduled to be repaved, and to this point, crews have completed nearly 30 lane miles, and paving is scheduled to be completed in early November. The signs and the detours are still out there, Randy, so we ask people to be patient and slow down in those construction zones. Visit the city's website at www.yakimawa.gov for the most recent updates and to view the interactive map with the construction zones. The streets of Yakima are looking much better, Randy, and it's getting a lot easier to get around town. So back to you.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you as well for joining us for this edition of Y-PAC CityCast. To find out more information about events, activities, and issues affecting the city of Yakima, check out the city's website at yakimawa.gov. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We'll see you on the next edition of Y-PAC CityCast. I'm Randy Beeler. Take care.
For more information on Y-PAC CityCast, call 575-6092.